Hello, you are in the frame with me, Julie, and it's time. We're going to talk about remote work today. First of all, if you're new here, hi, I'm Julie. I make videos about travel content, some visa hacks, some festivals, and from now, some remote work and the jobs that I've had. If you stick around for the video after this one, I will talk specifically about travel writing, which is one of the jobs that I've had. And so this is for you if you are curious about remote work, how it all works, what kinds of jobs are available, or you're just a little bit nosy and you want to see how I've been making my money for the past 5 years, which is how long I have been working remotely. If you're convinced already and you'd like to get going on remote work or continue looking for jobs, I'm looking for a job because due to this COVID situation, any of my travel-related work, which is not writing but other jobs that I've had that have to do with sales and copywriting, those are kind of just done indefinitely. So I'm also on the market for more work. And I have listed more than 20 of my best resources for finding jobs, getting support, working on your skills and things like that, doing courses online, and a few really good mentors who share very good tips and actually some services like working on your resume and things like that on their platforms. All of that is in one nice little blog post, and you can find that linked in the description. But for now, let's get into it, and I'm going to tell you 4 remote jobs that I have had in my day. So, like I said, I've been working remotely about 5 years. Sort of happened by accident. Oh, hang on. I just got... Sort of happened by accident in my last year, no, like actually my second last year of university, and I was honestly just like looking through some online job boards for a job as like a hostess, a bartender, you know what I mean? And I stumbled on something that wasn't that. It was a writing job. It was a job to be done remotely, and because it was for a company based in Europe, I was being paid in euros, which now that I think about it, considering all the work that I did at that job, but considering I was in South Africa at the time, getting it in South African rands or converting it, it was quite a lot of money. So I got used to that kind of lifestyle, and I'm spoiled now. And also, of course, I was able to work on my own schedule and wherever I wanted, whether it was home in bed or at a cafe or whatever, and while I was traveling. So I was hooked. So Jules, what was that first job, you ask? My first ever remote job was as a freelance copywriter in the, I suppose, travel and hospitality field. It was for a German hotels ranking and I think booking website. I think people can make bookings on it. And so, like I said, I stumbled on it on this job board. It was on jobvine.co.za for some reason, which is where I was trying to just be like a hostess at a fancy restaurant. I thought that's easy enough. I don't think I have the patience to waitress, to be honest. And so I found this job description was something like, do you have a good command of English? Do you write well? Are you a self-starter or whatever? Yeah. So the job itself was to write down descriptions of certain hotels. So the amenities of the hotel, the sort of size, the general vibe. Just to let somebody know, like in short, what the hotel was like, and then to write summaries of the positive and negative reviews that have been left by previous guests. And what we had to do was we had a target of 40 of these sorts of, tasks per month, so 40 hotels. If you met 40 hotels a month, if you met the target, then you get paid 500 euro for that month. So it was something like 14 or 15 euro per hotel, something like that. So I got my first payment of that into my South African bank account, and it converted or whatever to 9,000 rand, and I was like, oh, I'm balling. So that was a very nice beginning, and that is also how I decided to start saving money and start saving for a specific goal, which then turned into me taking a Euro trip, and I was able to still do this work when I was on that trip. So some days I put aside as working days, and I was still generating income that way. And then I had to come back to uni. And I did that job for about 1.5 years until like a few months after I came back from my Euro trip. I decided to quit, one, because after a while it's not every month that there were 40 hotels available for all the different writers. I think it's potentially they like started to hire more and more writers. I know I told a few friends about it, and 2 of my friends started doing the same job. And it was very good for us, but then after a while there wasn't always enough work. So when I was getting 500 euro for those first but maybe like 6-7 months, there were times when I was now trying to like hunker down on saving for this trip, and then some months I was only able to make 100 or 300 euro instead of the 500 that I was trying to budget with. So that kind of stuff happens when you're on these, like, people call them content farms, because it's actually like, it's a little bit sweatshoppy. Like, they just kind of get writers and things from countries outside of their own, because like if they were to hire, say, a German writer, or say, because it's in English language, maybe an English or American writer, most likely they would have a harder time getting somebody to accept those rates, which were actually a little bit low. If you think about all the time and research and writing that goes into it. So yeah, after a while there wasn't enough work, so I decided to resign. It was also getting to the end of the academic year, and I decided to just kind of focus on school. But it's a very, very good introduction. It's a really good entry-level remote job. So that sort of content writing that propelled me into traveling a little bit more, which propelled this YouTube and my blog to kind of switch from a more modeling and lifestyle focused platform to travel focused. Meant that I was writing travel-y blog posts and making travel videos. And so from then I think I was just trying to get something like I had with the first job when it was good, which was like kind of still a salary, like still you're assured every month that you would get money in. So I started to look on websites like Upwork, and in the beginning I wasn't able to get anything regular, anything on retainer or any kind of contract, but I was able to start getting freelance writing jobs. This is still something that I do now. This is one of my main sources of income, which is freelance. I call myself a freelance travel and culture writer, but a little bit more on the travel side. The difference between this and being a content writer is content means you're writing content for a website, so for that specific purpose. That was for a hotel comparison website. You can write content for tech websites, for food blogs, for whatever it is. It's to fill up their website. Whereas with travel writing, I think that many people don't fully gauge what it is. First of all, it's not everyday marketing. I think that when I say that I'm a travel writer and I also have a travel blog, their sort of thing is like, oh, so you like write to market it, you like write to convince people to go there. Some writing is like that and some bloggers do that. For me, I'm sharing stories. I'm saying I went to Lesotho and I saw like a snow dance, and then it actually started snowing 15 minutes after that. You can't replicate that, but you should go somewhere and be open to that kind of experience, and you'll find your own story. That's really my viewpoint, you know what I mean? So I honestly can't remember my first freelance writing job. I think it may have been for a magazine called Ministry of Tomorrow, and that I know that I found on Upwork. Upwork.com is one of the job boards that I have mentioned in the blog post with the 20 plus resources, so go check that out. And I managed to like kind of have a good working relationship with them, and I think that they kind of kept me in their pool of writers. So every now and then they would sort of shoot me like a few topics and be like, do any of these titles or whatever interest you? Would you like to send us a draft? And then I started getting paid for individual articles, which was very nice. Those ones weren't actually travel articles, but then I really can't remember my first travel article. It's probably that was paid for. My first travel articles were the ones on my blog. So some of them would be guides like how I saved money in Barcelona. Some of them were really just like my week in Nice. This is what I did, this is what I saw. This was a huge mess up, but that was like a fun, cool thing that I noticed. But I have at this point written for platforms like Horizon Guides. Fodor's Travel is a recent one that I got published on. Been featured on Sabona magazine, which is South African Airlines in-flight magazine. Yeah, a few blogs as well I have guest posted on, which has been very cool. So it's so far so good. It's like it's something I'm still building up on and everything like that. If you stick around on the channel and hit subscribe, in the next few days I will also be uploading a video specifically about getting into travel writing if you're interested in that. But yeah, you know, I really enjoy the job. It's quite tough because as I'm a freelancer, so it's just very unpredictable. As far as rates and how much money I'm making, in the beginning I just took whatever was offered, which I was fine with because it was also like building up your portfolio. Right now my rate, I prefer to keep things to 50 cents, US dollar cents per word. Sometimes I'll kind of shift depending on the publication or depending on the story. For the last thing that I had published, actually just last week, I took something much less than that. I took like half of that because this publication is one that I really like to write for, and I really like to have my name and byline on their website. So I just took it. But yeah, and try and keep it to 50 cents per word. There are people getting paid $1 a word in these streets. So generally, like if I'm asked my rates, that is it. But a lot of the time, publications have their rates that they pay writers. So yeah, it just sort of, you kind of find your groove, you speak to people and see how they price themselves and everything like that if they're asked for their rates. And you can always negotiate even if you're offered something. So freelance writing has been cool. Yeah, I'm very much trying to keep it going and trying to build up my skills and everything like that. So hop onto that video in a few days and I will have a challenge for you if you'd like to build up your writing skills also. Next gig that was super random, not at all writing or travel related, that I found potentially also on Upwork. I don't remember. Oh, by the way, majority of my work I found just online on different job boards and different groups like digital nomad groups and remote work groups and things like that. So again, hit the blog post, link is in the description, and I've listed out my favorite ones. So this one, I really can't say how I found it. I was living in South Africa and I was an audio transcriptionist, transcriber, I don't know. Hated it. One of the worst jobs I've had. I know that many people kind of do it long term and they seem to be happy with their rates and stuff like that. Well, first of all, this was the first time that I was doing it, and so I would probably do it differently now, just like having picked up a few tips, and like now I just know a few things, like there's certain software to help you. So what a transcriber is that you write down a script or whatever of either an audio or a video file. So you might get a video just like this of me talking and you have to type out everything I say. For me, it was all audio, so it was different interviews and yeah, it was mostly interviews and maybe like some meetings and stuff like that I would have to just listen to and type out exactly what they say. So there's actually software that kind of does it for you, and you just like go through and see if there are any errors. I didn't use any of that. I did it all manually. I was all like, you listen for like 10 words, stop it, type what they say, and then you listen, stop it, type what they say. And then if you're extra thorough, if you've still got steam, you listen through it again and you see if there are any corrections to be made. And I remember I would do that. I don't know, I would get a task that was maybe like a 20-minute interview, and it really took hours. It took like 2 or 3 hours, maybe even more. I just remember it being like so much work. But again, I was doing it all manually and I didn't need to and I didn't know. And then also, I can't remember the exact pay rate. I know that every month I would get like 1,200 South African rand. All that being said, this was a part-time job. So that the way that it worked, I think it was similar to my first gig in that you logged onto like some kind of platform and then you chose whatever task you wanted, but I don't remember there being a target. So it was just up to you how much work you did and when you did it, except of course there was a deadline. So I remember on the platform it would just kind of say like, this is the name of the file, you can download it here, this is how long it is, and this is how long you have to do it once you download it. Most of the time it was like 2 days, 3 days, sometimes some of them were like, this is an emergency, the client needs it now. Not now, but like by 12 hours or something. So that's how that worked. So that was quite nice because it was completely flexible, and so if you perhaps don't want to work for this week, then you don't have to. You're not held to any like target or whatever. I'm sure there are some where you can have sort of like a contract where you are a part-time or full-time staffer and you're required to put in this many hours or to transcribe this many minutes of audio or video or whatever. But in this case, it wasn't that at all. It was freelance and part-time, and I could be remembering this wrong, but I feel like I never had a target to meet. It's just that whenever you picked a task, you had to adhere to the deadline for that task, which was, yeah, fair enough. Personally, I hated it. If you're a transcriber, transcriptionist, first of all, tell me which one of those words is right in the comments, and please let us know your experiences, because for me, it was just kind of like, I don't like this. Next remote job was one of those instances where I thought, you know what, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm gonna go for it. Which is to be I suppose, a sales rep for a company kind of new in the market that had to do with card payments for tourism businesses. So I just got this gig in about, I think, January of this year. Very excited about it. With this one, the job was to go around to different tourism businesses, particularly hostels and small hotels and things like that, and get them to sign up onto this new card payment system, new in Africa, pretty much. So I was one of the representatives for that. I say was because currently, due to global happenings, it's kind of on hold, which is a shame because I feel like I was starting to get my groove, you know. But yeah, I had to go and speak to many different, especially hostels, and just explain the system to them and show them a demonstration. It's an app instead of a machine for card payments. Yeah, so I would do that. With that, we did have a target of, I think it's 5 signups every month. So there's a set salary every month for our time, and then you would get commission for every business that signs up and does their first processes their first $500 using the app. Yeah, that did that for 3 months until shit hit the fan. Unfortunately, hopefully we'll be able to start that again. But yeah, I'm really not a people person like that. By everything that you hear, I'm very used to just like working on my own, not interacting with people, just being on my computer. I thrive in those sorts of things, and I've never really been that much of a salesperson. So I figured I would still just give it a go. With this particular gig, they called us nomads for this company because it was like, we'll slot in with your travel plans. So wherever you're going, this is our list of targeted countries. If you're going to any of them, let us know your plans and how long you'll be there and what. Speak to people in that country, and help us spread the word about our app in person as a friendly, familiar face. As long as you're traveling within the countries of our targeted list, or where the app operates so far, then go wherever you want, do whatever you're doing, and you'll be able to go more because we're giving you more money to fund your travels. This was my plan. 2020 was about to be lit, but alas. So yeah, I got my last payment from them beginning of April, and so here we are, friends. So we would give, I think it was 20 hours a week. We would have a weekly call with the company just to see how everybody was getting on, to ask any questions, or just to let them know, like, kind of if anybody was having any issues or the common questions we were getting, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I only have done it, like I said, it's only been like 3 months. I really hope that it's able to start up again once things kind of move a little bit back to normal or back to life. I often try and seek out these sorts of jobs that kind of like encourage you to live your life, travel where you're traveling, and just be like, are you traveling right now? Do this thing for us, we'll give you more money so that you can keep traveling. Hey. So yeah, it's been a good experience, and I feel like I was really starting to like figure out my sales pitch lines and vibes and things like that. So yeah, I think everybody should try sales at least once in their life. It's hard. And I know I said 4, but here's a bonus for you. I have been an online English teacher. I only did this for a month, which I'm really sad about because I feel like I smashed it. I feel like I was very good at it. But I just haven't been able to find a remote online English teaching job, especially as I would classified as a non-native English speaker. So the way that a lot of these things work, majority of the companies that hire English teachers online, majority of them are Chinese companies, some Korean and some Japanese. And many of them prefer to have quote-unquote native speakers from the US, the UK, Ireland, sometimes Australia, sometimes South Africa. And so anybody else who speaks English like me but is not a national of those countries is classified a non-native speaker. And sometimes the pay is less, sometimes they straight up just don't even consider you. So anyway, in my last month living in the city I went to university in, Port Elizabeth, South Africa, I forgot how I found out about it, but somebody told me about a company that takes on English teachers to really just have conversations with people of different levels, just via video call. So I say sort of remote because it was remote because I wasn't teaching kids in a class or people in a class, it was people of all ages, but I had to go to the center of this company, of the teaching company, and sit at their computer and have my shift that way. So we had shifts. So this was part-time again. It was part-time because I was in South Africa on a study permit. So legally I was allowed to work 20 hours a week. So that's what I did. I worked every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I believe. Yeah. And so I think it was 5-hour shifts. And the shift that I chose was the early morning one. So I started at 6 a.m. and finished at midday, which was cool. Like, I preferred to do all my work in the morning. I remember actually one of my best birthdays was a Sunday. I think it was my 23rd birthday. I think it was my 23rd, yeah. And so I worked that morning, that Sunday morning, from 6 a.m. till midday. Went and bought a few snacks and then went home, changed, and I hopped in the car with my friends and we drove like an hour, maybe half an hour out of the city to a place called Sunday's River, and we had this river cruise all afternoon, got drunk, did our thing on the river, on the boat, saw the sunset, came back. I think we went out, it was like 7, 8 o'clock when we got back to the city. We went to a bar, maybe to eat, I don't know. But it wasn't even like a full-on party thing. I was in bed by 9 p.m. And then I had work again the next 6 a.m. I remember that Monday morning, which was the day after my birthday, I had a quick review with one of the supervisors just to see how things were going because I was new. And I was saying to the guy yeah, I think he asked what my plans were or whatever. And I was like, listen, it was my birthday yesterday and I'm going to bed. He's like, I'm really impressed with you for coming in today. I'm like, same. So it was cool. It was quite a nice vibe. I really enjoyed the company and the other people that I met there. Because it was November, I think. Majority of the time I was there was November. I was able to go to my first ever staff holiday party, which was awesome. This company actually, once you signed on with them, once you went through your testing and you do written tests, you have an interview for somebody to just hear how you speak on the phone, and then I think I came in and we had written grammar tests, and then I think that we probably did a couple of test scenarios, just the way that our class would go. So we had that kind of thing with each other and with the supervisors and everything before we were allowed to start teaching. But again, the teaching was conversational. So some classes would be a group class of maybe 10 people all calling in from different places, and we would have general conversation. So you needed to have a script to introduce yourself as a teacher and say stuff like, hi, my name is Julie, I'm from here and here, I'm here today, I enjoy this and that, I'm a fan of, I don't know, this kind of music, I like to eat this kind of food, lovely to be with you today, everybody please introduce yourself. So you just you kind of chat, you just talk about things you like, how your day was, whatever. Sometimes it was more topical and somebody needed business for English for business, sorry, or English for whatever, for things that are food related. So there are times I would have a class of an 11-year-old Irani and a 40-year-old Chinese person and a few 10-year-olds. And it was all in one class, and sometimes I would also have individual classes, but all of it was conversational. This company was really cool in that they actually would sponsor your TEFL certificate. So that's one of the most basic English teaching certificates. It stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. But for this company, they said, as long as you finish it within a month, you don't need to pay for it. Here's a free TEFL. I don't think I did finish it, actually. It was really cool to just chat to people, taught predominantly Chinese people, but also some Italians, a couple of Russians, I was saying some Iranis, 1 or 2 Japanese people I remember. Yeah, it was quite nice for the month that I did it. So that is my remote work history so far. As you can see, there are all kinds of jobs available. That's just a tiny drop in the bucket for the sorts of work that you can be doing. It can be all different kinds of lifestyles. It can be part-time, full-time, contract, freelance, and everything like that. And really the world is your oyster if you are looking into going into remote work or continuing into remote work. If you work remotely right now or have before, please let us know in the comments the types of jobs that you've had. Is there anything that you're trying to get into? I've sort of considered social media management. I have managed social media for different companies and stuff like that, but I've always been in-house. That's not ever been a remote job for me. But that's something I would like to do. People are virtual assistants, people are web developers, people are UX designers, financial analysts, I don't know, all kinds of things. And I'm really very happy that the world is starting to open up more and more to that. So shout out to us, I guess. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit like if you enjoyed this video. Remember to also go and see the blog post with my 20+ resource for finding remote work and also building up your skills in whatever it is that you like to do, what to do. And I will talk to you in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.